to be with.
Okay.
The difference between making decisions with your head or your heart. And my mum certainly made most of her decisions, if not all of them, from her heart.
Nice.
And I am my mother's son.
I guess the sweet music is meant to soften it. Okay. So your dad raised you without your mom from age 12. But hey, he wouldn't keep the cash flowing when you quit working for the royal family, so I guess he can pound sand too. Boring. Megyn also makes clear, just in case you were wondering, Kate and Will's super formal, not just in public, but in private too. Stiff as a board, actually. Unlike the very warm and delightful hugger, Megyn, he's so fun to share stories. As for the matter of Diana's death and the cloud that looms as a result, Harry appears to me to be looking for a kind of do-over. If he can manage the press for Megyn and get a better result, maybe he'll feel better about what happened to his mom.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Psychologists are well aware of this phenomenon. But Megyn is not Diana, and she is not getting hounded by the press in any way close to the way Diana was. Other than a few paparazzi hanging around outside of Megyn's house in Canada when their relationship first was made public, the only paparazzi shown bothering her is one guy on a scooter in New York City, in a scene that remains my very favorite of the entire series so far.
How? Hold on, bro. How?
Look at these drama queens.
Do we have that pap on the scooter again?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, we do? Really? Same guy?
Same guy.
Oh my God, how fun.
Watched him go into this park and then...
He's going to be with us?
Yes, sir. He was just ahead.
There's a lot of people who think they've got such a problem with paparazzi.
Yeah, those, the guys in the basement of the building, too, as we were doing that walk, they were recording, too, just so you're aware.
Here we go again.
Back in my mum's days, it was physical harassment. You know, cameras in your face, following you, chasing you.
She's following us.
Who?
This pap. I mean, worst case scenario, so safety first. Worst case scenario, we're going from one garage to another. Like, it's...
Safety first. It's one guy on a Vespa. What are you worried about? He's going to deliver some flowers and a newspaper to you? But this is so on brand for these two. A ridiculous overreaction to an absolute nothing burger that they then use to paint themselves as victims, and doubly so when no one reacts with the horror they expect. Harry is still miffed his family did not do more to protect his provincial, innocent, doe-eyed bride. You know, the one Tom Bauer says spent the months before she met Harry trying to find someone rich and famous to marry, and who, according to her friends, loved to set up paparazzi shots of herself.
Here we go again.
The direction for the palace was, don't say anything.
No comment. Everyone just say no comment.
But what people need to understand is, as far as a lot of the family were concerned, everything that she was being put through, they had been put through as well.
Okay.
So it was almost like a rite of passage. And some of the members of the family was like, right, but my wife had to go through that. So why should your girlfriend be treated any differently? Why should you get special treatment? Why should she be protected?
Good question.
And I said, the difference here is the race element.
There it is again, her race. That's the game changer. She deserves special treatment because of her skin color. Is that how it works, by the way? The press has an obligation to go easy on black or mixed race subjects? Tell it to Clarence Thomas, Larry Elder, Herschel Walker, Ye West, Will Smith. I could go on. In America and in the UK, the press cuts everyone.
Fact.
Everyone with power, privilege, or a platform, at least. People who seek the spotlight are going to get it, the good and the bad. It's not nice, but it is the world in which we live, the costs of a free press. And yes, it's worth it. There have been a few nasty racial comments about Megyn, and even some about Archie.
What?
A reporter at the BBC compared their baby to a monkey.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
Horrible. And he was promptly and rightly fired. Harry says Maura was required of the palace, but what? Fired is fired. And the vast majority of comments they mention in this piece, and there are not many, are either a one-off from a tabloid or a comment from online no-names.
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Why is it the palace's role to stifle stupid comments on the internet or in the media, even if they could? Even if they could. The UK has actually passed laws to make things safer for royals dealing with the press in the wake of Diana's death.
Okay.
These two have more protections from the media and paparazzi over there than they do here. But no institution can stop the churn and burn of news, of the tabloids. The best one can do is learn to ignore it.
Yeah, right.
Harry suggests, so far, without evidence, that the palace was actually planting hit pieces against him and his wife. That's unfortunate, but again, unproven. And frankly, may have been fair play given this pair's behind-the-scene antics, bullying, and constant playing the victim.
So that was a lie.
Remember when they went to Africa and Megyn complained in the midst of such poverty and suffering that no one was asking how she was doing? Megyn and Harry have a great life. I'm happy for them that they got away from a situation that was not working for them. If only they would now simply live that life without the constant lecturing and judging and petty complaining. The Queen, who had a keen sense of public perception, had a simple rule for her family.
Okay.
Never complain, never explain. It keeps the royals a bit mysterious and avoids some controversy. We are finding out from Netflix why that rule was so important.
Why? Why?
The more these two talk, the more we recoil. We desperately miss the mystery. Oliver the Ornament is a 7-book series about one family's collection of ornaments. The first book begins Thanksgiving night, while the last book takes place on Christmas morning. Each book introduces a new holiday ornament and weaves in the story of that ornament. It's a good idea, right? Super cute for the whole family.
Yeah, right.
The books teach kindness, and they have lots of plot twists and cliffhangers. This is a great tradition for your entire family. Parents, grandparents, kids, grandkids, they're all going to look forward to the next family story night. It's a nice way to get everybody together. Maybe some hot cocoa mixed in, maybe a warm fire, maybe some eggnog for the grown-ups. It's great for the holiday season. Oliver the Ornament has won all kinds of awards and accolades. First Lady Melania Trump selected this book to be read at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C., continuing a 75-year-long tradition.
Nice.
Go to olivertheornament.com today. olivertheornament.com today. Hit the big Shop Now button on the page, and when you buy the Oliver the Ornament set, you're going to get a whole bunch of extra goodies, including audiobooks. Use the code Megyn at checkout. Oliver the Ornament, ORNAMENT.com. Use code Megyn at checkout. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.
Fact.
Lovely to see Megyn Kelly back with us, of course, from the United States. The freedom-loving lady. Well, she spent some time in France, and that was a bit of fun. Our full chat is up at skynews.com.au, but the highlights on the telly right now. How do we not talk about Harry and Megyn?
Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention.
They don't want to work. It's the same reason they left the royal family. They only wanted to wear the crown jewels. They didn't actually want to toil away at the ribbon cutting ceremonies. And the same problem plagued them and their new employers once they got here stateside.
Are you sure about that?
The fact that she couldn't even make 12 episodes without complaining is absolutely pathetic, right? 12 episodes, I do that in 2 weeks. And what is she complaining about? And the problem is, once you have an actual job as opposed to a stupid lifestyle website that nobody looks at, or I don't even know what Harry's ever done, it actually requires some effort, some elbow grease. You know, you have to prepare. And the biggest offense I heard about in the revelations about this podcast that failed was the fact that she committed a fraud.
What?
There are some pieces you put out where you must use a producer to do some of, forgive me, the less important interviews. That's just the way these big pieces go. Not in a podcast that has 2 interviews when you only have to do 12. I'm talking about an in-depth, several long-hour documentary. You might have a producer do a piece or two, an interview or two. You would never misrepresent that you did it. You would never cut your own questions into the interview and try to pawn it off on your audience like it was yours. That's grossly unethical. And if she did that with Spotify's help, Spotify has some answering to do, because that's a fraud on your audience. But that's how lazy she is. And the reason she didn't want to do it herself is because A, she's lazy, right? Number one.
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
But B, she didn't want to talk to the people who weren't important. She only wanted to talk to Mariah Carey and Serena Williams and Taylor Swift, who gave her the middle finger and didn't even respond directly, but had a rep.
What?
Send her back it's a no letter to her. And I guarantee you, Paul, they had the same problem in gearing up for season 2. No one wanted to be with her. She didn't have the cachet she had when she first left the royal family, claiming racism and mental health problems. Now she just had to make it on her own. And their reputations have been so damaged here. All they got was, I'll pass.
God, please, no!
Yeah, there's a million other podcasts they can do if they want to tell stories about how terrible their childhood was. There's plenty of other opportunities. But I like what was said by the United Talent Agency CEO. He's in trouble for saying this, but he says, turns out Meghan Markle was not a great audio talent or necessarily any kind of talent.
Come on now, dog.
And just because you're famous doesn't make you great at something. Why is he in trouble for saying the truth?
Because they don't. Hollywood's not based on truth ever, any piece of it. So God bless the man for saying what we all know is true. But, it really speaks to sort of the juxtaposition between the positioning of this podcast and what the reality was. Her fake saccharine voice. Go back and look at the clip where Mariah Carey says to her, "You're a diva too." She was saying to Mariah, "You're a diva." Mariah said, "You're a diva." And, what's my idol?
Is he all right upstairs?
Calling me out. Just the over-the-top dramatics. She was pathetic. She wasn't good at it. He was right. And so what did we see in the press? She got an award for top podcast by some group I never heard of. That's how Hollywood, the agents and the people around her, manipulate us, trying to make us believe this thing is a success. It's special. She's nailing it. And yet they weren't getting the downloads anytime after the first couple when people were tuning in because of curiosity. And they didn't get renewed because if there really was something special and award-winning about this thing, Spotify would have sucked up her laziness and put the team around her to make it successful. They didn't have the appetite because it was a loser and they knew it.
Joe Biden, of course, is a historic president because he's the only person who can fall upstairs. But he's also continuously lying about any knowledge to do with his son, and that's getting worse by the day. Whistleblowers who are genuinely brave, not the ones who just anonymously kept dropping against Trump, most of which was garbage. And then he was out there saying, God save the Queen. Another wonderful fortnight for the free world.
God save the Queen, man.
What do you mean by that?
I don't have anything for you on that. I have no clue what was going on there. Why did he say that? Why does he say enjoy your senior year? Why does he say things like this? They come out of nowhere. And I do think, I used to go visit my Nana. My Nana lived on her own till she was 100. And when she turned 101, she had to go into the home, right, where she could get better medical care.
Nice.
And I heard things like that from some of her, colleagues in the senior citizens home.
Fellow inmates.
Right. I'm just saying that's the only time I've heard such nonsense get blurted out with absolutely no connection to what's happening in the room. Of course, the problem is he's the leader of the free world.
Are you sure about that?
Well, of course, the stress of the presidency, right? So we saw Barack Obama, fit bloke, go from sort of dark hair to grey hair in the space of his 8 years. This bloke starts as a corpse. What is the expectation of him at the end of 4, let alone 8?
I've got 2 words for you.
Okay.
Kamala Harris. That's what truly strikes fear in the hearts of most Americans. And they need to get real honest with themselves about the fact that that's the reality if this guy gets reelected. It may not be death. I'm not wishing this man an untimely death.
Of course not.
But he is pushing 86 by the end of that second term.
Fact.
And we already see the mental deterioration. So he could be, pushed right out of office thanks to his cabinet members if he becomes incapacitated any further mentally. More than likely, if he gets reelected, they won't do that. We've seen what they've done with John Fetterman, this senator in the state of Pennsylvania who can't put two sentences together either. They just keep pushing him into the voting box so he can vote the way they want.
Well, duh.
So maybe they'll do that with Joe Biden. I don't know. But at this point, it does look a little like elder abuse to make this guy run again. He won't have a debate, even though 80% of Democrats want him to debate his Democratic challengers. He won't do it. And I really think their whole plan is working right now, Paul, which is get Trump to be the nominee on the GOP side. That'll motivate the voters, and Biden won't really have to run or put himself out there and put words together.
Yeah, right.
100%. California always at the front of stupid things, and they've decided now to pass a new law that's particularly insane against parents who want to take care of their kids.
This can't be allowed. This has to stop.
Why? Why?
It passed the House in the California State House, and now it's going to go to the Senate. And it would have to be signed by the governor, who has presidential aspirations. And if this guy signs this, he's done. This isn't like, oh, trans people should get care, right? They call it gender affirming care. This is the California lawmakers saying, if you don't quote, affirm your child's gender confusion, and they don't define what that means. It could mean you refuse to get his penis chopped off when he says, I'm a girl.
That doesn't make sense.
You could be labeled a child abuser. You could be treated as a criminal, the same as a sexual abuser of children. And anyone who has a duty to report, like a third-party source, like a school